Hello, this is Tala and this is The Written Word. Today I'm so happy that I'm going to interview one of my favorite new Lebanese author. His name is Majd Zaher, and he has recently published his new book called Borderline Love in Beirut. We're doing this episode at one of my favorite spots in Lebanon, and it's the social house Beirut. Borderline Love in Beirut compiles a collection of love stories that were often concealed under the pretext of norms and culture. The novel narrates them in a contemporary setting and takes the reader on a roller coaster of emotions, from the thrill of falling in love to the touching remarks lovers receive. Majd Zaher is with us to discuss his book today. Hi Majd.
Hello Tala, thank you so much for hosting me today, and I'm really glad to share my vision and the new novel.
Majd, can you please tell us more about yourself?
I'm a new Lebanese author. I'm a 25-year-old, and I studied translation and international affairs at the American University of Science and Technology. And the writing has always been my escape. It started with reading, and later on, writing became a way to express my thoughts and my identity and what bothers me and what I love, what I despise, what I enjoy. So I'd say writing and reading were my lifelong friends, and that's how it started, and that's how Borderline Love in Beirut paved the road towards a journey of self-discovery and self-love, and which I would recommend to everyone who's struggling at a certain point to express himself or herself, to love himself or herself, and just like to accept anyone in the word.
Majd, you sound a lot like me when you talk about yourself, because you're an avid reader and so am I. So I'm really happy to have you on board. Can you tell us more about the book you wrote and what really inspired you to just, take pen to paper and start on with this book?
It all started when I wanted to express my thoughts, when I wanted to speak. I wanted to talk about what bothers me and living in a certain place and what I like. However, I found no one to express my thoughts to. So my companion were only my friend, the paper and the pen. So I wanted to express more my thoughts and let these thoughts be a way to awaken what is dead in me, to narrate something many had lived and outlived, to tell others, those who are struggling, those who are working day and night, those who are trying to find a way and find a path for themselves, that there is always hope once you believe in yourself, that there is always love once you love yourself, and that there's always escape once you want to leave and not attach yourself to a place and to a world where you don't belong to, but you just like sit there waiting for a miracle. However, the miracle is you, and only you have to believe in yourself.
Was this book some sort of escape for you whenever you held that pen or wrote on your laptop? How was it that you escaped it? How was it that you just, have all of this flow of ideas and narrative?
Sometimes it would be easier for you just to write down your thoughts rather than saying them out loud. And for me, writing was the easiest way actually to say something that I always wanted to express, but I was afraid, and I failed by expressing it out loudly. So my characters, whom are Joy and Adam, and whom most people would connect to, Joy and Adam were the gate and the escape for me, and this escape that you've mentioned before resembles many things. For myself, the escape was living in a place where I never belonged to, but I forced myself to. Staying with friends whom they never loved me, but I just wanted to stay with them because I was afraid of being alone. The escape is admitting and accepting myself the way I am, without anyone's opinion and their say that I'm good enough for them to love me. The escape resembles the hope that I wanted to become something, disregarding all the struggles the Lebanese society and nowadays the economy we're passing through. But I attach myself to this hope, and I promise myself that the escape is always there. All what you have to do is believe in yourself, believe that you could do it, and it's like it happens. And you never believe how it simply happens, really, Tala. Once you believe that there is a hope, you just, and people out there are waiting for you. They just need to help you, but you just have to believe in yourself and help yourself out, and that's the magic. It's a magic.
I love that you said that it's a magic, because really whenever I was reading, I felt like I'm escaping myself, because like the way you took us through the setting, the way you made us visualize how each character looks or feels or thinks really takes us into the narrative itself. So I really like that. I really have this curiosity to know, when did you start writing this book, and what was your way of starting it? Did you do it on your laptop? Did you start writing on your phone notes? Was it really pen to paper? What is it? How did you do it?
It all started one day. I was at my parents' house, and a person would send me a message telling me that you're not good enough for me to love you. And that's how it all started. It took me like 4 or 5 days of crying and like mourning in my room for that. I received such a text message. However, I decided like that I think I should like stay strong. So I took my pen and I went on a hike. I always have a diary, and since I was a kid, I always used to write on my diary. So I took this diary and I started 2 papers, which I didn't change anything, and they're the same 2 pages that you've read in the book. They're the same 2 pages. So it all started there, and the 2 pages, each day I started writing another page, and it happened at a time where I was at my darkest times, and suicidal thoughts were pushing me to write it, and I was writing not to publish the book. I wanted people to know that sometimes it's really hard for a certain person to exist in a certain society, and the escape would be only death. However, if I didn't believe in myself, I think I wouldn't be like telling you this story today, and someone else might be like saying this, that I did it. However, believing that there's an escape, the escape that I always mention because it exists actually, it started from here. So pain was the starting point, and I like pain now because I think without the pain, stories can never start. But the secret in that is knowing how to accept the pain and how come over it, because if you can't do it, then it's gonna pull you down, and it's like it's gonna stick in a mud place, and which you can never leave. But once you know how to manipulate this pain, it's gonna be super easy, and pain would be just a memory that you'd always, I think you'd brag about, like, I was in pain once, but look where I am today. So it all started here. I never expected that Joy, my favorite character, and I think many people would reflect their story to Joy's, would be my happiest moment and the proudest, because with Joy, everyone is gonna live the journey of starting from nowhere, where you'd be the weakest person on earth, you'd be the most person who's bullied, who suffers from mental health, who never loves the way they look. Joy is more than a character. He's every one of us. He is every girl who's struggling in a world that she doesn't fit in. He's every boy who's going to work and he hates, but he has to work. Joy is every story of a mother and father whom they never accepted their child the way they are, because they're just afraid of what the society gonna judge them. So yeah, the evolution of Joy, from that kind of kid, to the person who'd stand in front of the mirror and tell the other, and tell that they're good enough for them to love, that they're good enough to stand in a place and tell everyone that I am the weakest person whom you used to bully before. Yes, I am Joy. I am the girl whom you used to hate because she was different. I am Joy. I am the boy whom you used to bully because he was tall and dark skinned. I am the boy. I am the marginalized group. I am every marginalized person in this world. So the best part was Joy's evolution and how he got over all of this pain to become someone whom everyone wanted to become like, but everyone failed because none has lived this story.
In your book, you tackled a lot of issues regarding marginalized groups. You showcased what the claims and shunning and shaming they could go through. It really makes us, just feel as if we are in their own places and shoe. Could you tell us more about how you hope this book, changes people's perspectives about marginalized groups, and how do you want to deliver this message in a way that wakes up not the people who are bullied, but the people who actually bully?
Here the question actually is tricky because I want to tell them many things. Let's start with this. There is no need to bully the other because he's different or because he's different. You could easily tell them in private that perhaps you could do something for you. It's like, if you see that perhaps they could be better, you'd consult them, you'd address them, you'd advise them, but there is no need to bully them. There is no need to hurt them. Imagine that you're in their shoes and you might be that person who would be bullied one day, or your children might be, or your brother, or your mother because she works at a place where people would bully her, or even your father because bullying has no age and knows no place and knows no nation, no gender, no race. Everyone could be bullied. So imagine that's happening to the people you love, and let's see how does it take you and where does it take you. Would you feel in pain? Would you feel agonized? Would you feel embarrassed and ashamed that people are laughing at how you appear or what you say or at your look? It's something humane. It's like, it's you. No one has the right to bully you because that's your identity. You're beautiful no matter what they might say. So imagine you being bullied at a place because you're tall and everyone is short. Then are you the one who's like who stands different? Yeah, you are. And you're because you're tall, you don't have the right to bully the short. Or because you're white skinned, you don't have to bully those who are dark skinned. And no one has the right to bully the other. These are two examples of many other cases where people would bully the other, and we see people are killing themselves and attempting to hurt others because they're being bullied. How harsh is that? So yeah, my message for all of those who are bullied: just let others live, and there's always a room for everyone to exist in this world. Like there are many places which are undiscovered, and perhaps there are different people. So there is no need to set a rule for people to exist, and let us all live in a world where we love each other. And if loving was a big word, then let's accept each other and tolerate each other, and we'd be happy.
You mentioned that part of the book's revenue would go to an NGO. Can you tell us more about the NGO that you've selected, and why did you choose this particular NGO?
The message and the reason behind publishing this book was not gaining revenue as much as I wanted to help others. And Hadak ibn Baid are a local NGO whom I stand proud actually from what they've accomplished, and I wanted to support them. The message from Hadak ibn Baid was supporting underprivileged families, and it started during COVID because they were supporting families without any contact. They were just placing orders and helping them and telling them that you're not alone in this. So perhaps publishing this book at the moment is another attempt for me to help others other than those who are struggling, because struggling knows no place as well and takes different forms. So those who are underprivileged needs an assistant, and what is better than the message of writing that could be transcribed to a way to help others, because my message from the book was accepting other and supporting the other. Supporting has many ways. It could be through mental support, emotional support, financial support. And my book wasn't talking about the financial support as much as it was debating the emotional and the mental support. So let's do it. And I decided to take part from the revenue that would go as a donation for Hadak ibn Baid, so that they would be supporting on my behalf and every reader who felt and grow attached to the characters, so that they or myself could be supporting these families through writing and through reading.
I really want to ask you if you're going to have the book translated into other languages, maybe Arabic, French. Could you tell us more about if you're going to do that?
As a translation student, actually, I thought at first as writing the book in Arabic. However, there are two options why I didn't. First was, actually, I prefer English. The second, which you might laugh at me, it's about the sensitive and the message I'm delivering, and how it might be considered as a taboo in the word, in the Arab word, and being it written in an Arabic language would increase the backlash, and people wouldn't accept it easily. So I think I wasn't manipulating others here, and I wasn't like trying to hide behind something or fake something. No, I was super honest with myself and with the readers, and it's clear from from my biography, from what I'm saying. So all what I wanted to do from the English, I think it would reach a wider audience, those who might be more interested in the message I'm trying to deliver, and for those who might not be perhaps really thrilled to hear about the and discussing the topics I am writing, perhaps they might be intrigued, and let them read it, let them read the book, and based on that, let them judge. So my message here as well is, don't judge the work before having it completed. There is always a room for opinions and critique, which is needed and required. And at me at publishing at this book at this age, I need so much support and help and advice, which I'm gonna accept and embrace. But I wouldn't accept someone who would judge me or insult me. Insult actually is a big word. Who would judge me for something that he has not read or she has not read, but all they would say about is a perception they had about myself. Let them read the book, and after that, let each one of them decide if this work is worth being written in English, or if they would have accepted if it was written in Arabic. And yeah, my big plan is having it translated to as many languages as you'd be able to count, but I personally wouldn't do it because I think I'd stay true to myself and stick to the language which I mostly enjoy writing in.
I came across the dedication page in the book that says, "To my mother, thank you for keeping my shelves full of books." I can so relate, and here I want to thank my mom as well for for keeping my shelves full of books too. And I really want to ask you, since you're an avid reader as well, what was like a certain book that touched you in a way that it stays with you till now? I know this is a tricky question. I'll give you time to think. What's something that you really feel that, all right, this book is something, and this book is something that I really want to keep on reading it and rereading it for a long time now?
Actually, I think my favorite book I've ever read is something I would always relate to, and it's the Semester's Daughter for Jumana Haddad. I think Jumana Haddad as a writer is someone whom she always inspired me, because I saw in the way she was talking about issues that they are considered as taboo, starting from the sexist world we live in, and how men always stand superior than women. It all started here. So I think she, at certain point, she encouraged me to write about stuff that are taboos. However, she believed in the capacity of the word she's presenting and how raw she went, but she was able to create a move that everyone, I think, would be always proud of. So that's the book that I enjoy reading, actually, and would always read over and over. And why I enjoy it is I enjoy the evolution of the characters, and how she took us from the first day she was born, and how the characters struggled and surpassed every bitter journey she passed through, starting from the desert, and how she grew in Lebanon. And it is beautiful, actually, and I would always connect to and reflect myself to, and the evolution of the character as Jumana is presented in her book, I think has something to do with Joy and Adam and the way they grew in this book.
Can you give us some sort of teasing for how the book would end, but without giving us the juice itself? So can you just tell us on what note is this going to end?
There is always one sentence I'd always relate to. It starts like this: to my lover who knew how to give me a life but easily take it away. By saying this sentence, I would always go to the crucial part of loving yourself and knowing how to love yourself before loving anyone. And in here, I think this sentence would really summarize how I grew up to believe that no one could save you but yourself, and no one could love you more than the way you'd love yourself. So my message for everyone, again, before I'm wrapping it up from my side, for those who are trying to love but they're not loving themselves at first, I wanted them to love themselves, to accept themselves, and let them wait, let them grow fond of themselves, and wait until they're ready to love, and let them fall in love. Let love be the journey of hope and acceptance, and let it be the most joyful memory you'd ever carry. You don't have to be like joy, you don't have to struggle, you don't have to cry, you don't have to attempt to hurt yourself because of someone's actions. On the contrary, let love be that gate, that escape to the heavens your eyes had never seen. But you can only do that once you truly and genuinely and frankly love yourself. So here I am telling you all, love yourself before you love anyone. And again, love is love no matter what. It has no color, no gender, no race. You could simply love, you could fall in love with a tree, but that's always called love.
This podcast is made possible by the generosity of listeners like you. Kindly consider a contribution through the links in the details box. Any amount is appreciated. I'm Tala Ramadan, and this is the written word for the Beirut Banyan.